So I think what I would say to someone that is looking to this industry and how this industry can be used, it's the aggregation and the collection of the data across multiple channels, email marketing, CPM media, CPA media, buying search, etc. And then tracking the number of leads that you buy from each of those channels and tracking how well those leads convert on the back end. But most importantly, providing and exposing the brand to what the retailer or the dealer has done and unifying that. So that, I think, is something that we'll probably see over the next couple of years. And a good example of that would be, let's say, for instance, a big satellite company decided to set aside $10 million or $20 million co-op dollars for online marketing. But they were going to do it under what they consider to be a best practice, which is all the leads go into this bucket, okay, and this bucket then will distribute the leads to the buyers. So all the media that drives the leads into the channel would be controlled and viewed by the corporate entity. So they know where all the leads are coming from, and they can audit that. And they might even want to audit the phone calls that occurred to vet those leads because the script needs to be compliant. When you have 2,000 dealers that are out there, it's hard to manage 2,000 dealers. How do you keep track of all 2,000 dealers? I guarantee you 20-30% of them are going to be doing things that you probably didn't like. So I think what you'll see is you'll see the reintroduction of the major brands coming into the channel, bringing their insane amount of co-op dollars that they have, and bring it to the channel, and then unifying how the channel is used to generate leads, so that way they can peer into it and see what is going on. And I think that'll be interesting to see over the next 2 years. I would call it reintroduction of major brands into allocating their marketing dollars to actionable lead generation.
But what you're talking about, if I'm understanding you correctly, is that the major brands are, you foresee them being concerned about controlling that brand message.
Yes.
And yeah, that would make sense.
And believe me, it's very difficult for them to audit and track the activities that every one of these dealers or authorized dealers have. And the dealer's incentive to do one thing, to get sales. That doesn't necessarily always align with the interest of the brand, because at what expense did you get the sale? Did you dial too many names? Did you call people that you shouldn't have called? Did you process a lead that didn't indicate that they've opted in or wanted the service? So I think that those are the things that hurt the brand more than any goodwill that might occur from great brand advertising. It doesn't take much for a brand's name to be rocked. And so I think that they're going to have to figure out a way to get re-involved into the channel and do it in a way that helps their dealers, that demonstrates to the dealers that yes, we can help you generate leads, but it's going to be done under this process. And we'll have a view into the process, and we'll know how many you got, we'll know how many that guy got, we'll know how many everybody got distributed across the platform, and then we'll know that you're using a system or a platform that they can audit. Well, I mean, they're commingled. You can't separate the two, because many lead generators will buy traffic by owning their own proprietary sites. Let's say a domain name that is terrific, that they've owned for years. They'll use that domain name to harvest leads, and there's a number of companies at this conference today that, in fact, do not educate the student, as an example. They simply own proprietary sites that generate leads that they can then sell to the schools, so the schools can convert. And they'll buy traffic through SEM. They'll get traffic through SEO, or through getting their site optimized, or they'll buy media. They'll buy email lists, or they'll generate campaigns that will drive traffic and awareness to their site. I think there'll always be a space for those companies, because they do provide a valuable service, which is a filter, a filter on the lead, which is really what a lead buyer ultimately wants. Oh, I don't think traditional media will. I think it's suffering to an extent, but I don't think it's replaceable. I think that your traditional media is very important, and it can help build your brand that will create a transaction later. It'll help the lead identify with your product at the decision point. I think if both are used in conjunction, it can be extremely powerful. So I see there being, again, as with fragmentation in the industry, I would say there's going to be a continuing shift of dollars away from traditional media and then it'll go to online by virtue of the fact that it's measurable. But in the end, I think that the two will coexist and live together, but the values of each may change over time. The value of traditional media, I think, is diminished significantly, the rates at which people pay. It'll find itself a plateau, and then it'll build up from there. But I think the reality is that for 30 or 40 years, people bought traditional media like drunken sailors, and they had the money. Look, it built a great industry. So. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a time, I think, where many folks were withdrawn in their desire to share information about how they had generated leads because they felt it was their secret advantage. I think over time that what has occurred is that advertisers have requested that they have more visibility into the actions or activities that their lead gen partners are engaged in, so they can better understand the value of the leads that are being generated, right? And if it's complying with their corporate brand that they may have. So collaboration is extremely important because at the end of the day, we all are engaged in this business together, cooperatively, and that is that, look, we all represent the interest primarily of the top of the food chain, the advertiser, right? So if we want to see them continue to spend money, if we don't as a group collaborate to make sure that we're driving quality, then we'll all ultimately suffer. And as with any industry, and technology being one that I think is arguably synonymous with this, all technologies become equal at some point. In other words, everybody will have the same technology. So what was an advantage 3 years ago, everybody does now, right? And so I would think that the collaboration is at this point in time in this marketplace is very high, and it's in the interest of the advertiser. Yeah, this is my first LeadsCon. I have many clients that have come here for some odd years or sessions that have been here, and this is a terrific environment for me because we have so many clients. At least in my vertical, my industry, it's being leveraged more heavily now because of the quality issues related to lead generation and the desire that lead generators have to improve the quality. And we've partnered with many of those lead generators to help improve their quality, to help generate better leads to the advertisers, and to reduce the amount of return. So this environment for us couldn't be better as far as getting together with our clients. Well, I mean, there are millions of average people who sell their products within eBay, and what's most important for anybody who's looking to engage in any new business venture is that you have to go where the traffic is, you have to go where the audience is, and the audience will ultimately reward you for your product, whether it's selling a virtual good or whether it's selling a physical good or even a service. But the most important thing in starting any new business venture is identify where the aggregation points are for traffic. And eBay being an excellent example of that, they aggregate a tremendous amount of buyers that are good buyers. So, if I were someone to recommend, even if my mom were to want to get engaged, I'd say, Mom, come into my house, go into my garage, and help me sell all this junk that I've collected over years, and you can sell it in eBay. And what she'd probably ultimately find is that she met a lot of people, she sold a lot of product, and it wasn't that difficult for her to do. So, I think that there are many venues in the internet space in which you can, aside from eBay, where people can start a business, see it thrive, and even the widgets and the things that are in Facebook are good examples of aggregation point. Lots of traffic there, lots of users. You stick an application in there, it gets rewarded by lots of users who promote it to other users. The next thing you know, you got a Zynga who has a tremendous amount of traffic, right? So you go to the aggregation points and you build your business where the traffic is, and that gives you a best chance to create a sustainable model. At least it shortens the amount of time for you to figure out whether you have product or not.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add?
That's it. Just having a great time at the show and enjoying my time here in Vegas.
Thank you so much.